Hello friends, here we will see Notes of London. London is among the best known writings by visionary English poet William Blake. This London work written by William Blake. The poem describes a walk through London, which is presented as a painted, oppressive, and imperished city in which all the speaker can find is misery. Here we find the feel misery, sad feel. It places particular emphasis on the sound of London, with the crisis coming from men, women, and children throughout the poem. Here we see the different sad feel of men, women, also children. The poem is in a part a response to the Industrial Revolution. This is the poet related to Industrial Revolution's crisis. But more than anything is a fierce critic of humankind's failure, especially how human failure in many aspects it says. To build a society based on love, joy, freedom, and communion with the God. Where human failed to build a society without love, joy, and freedom, and communication along with or connection with God is missed somewhere. It is the main theme of this poem by William Blake. Shall we see the summary of this? Summary. The speaker takes a walk through the designated streets of London, designated in the sense very rich or very named, famed, the busy, like that in those days. This walk brings the speaker near the river Thames, which seems to have its course dictated for it as it flows throughout the city. He reached the bank of river Thames. The speaker sees signs of resignation and sadness in the face of every person the speaker passes by. He saw the sadness in the faces of the various people. The speaker hears this pain too in the cries men as well as those of fearful newborn babies. Even the cry not only in the face of the adult one, even newborn baby also has the same feel. In fact, in every voice in the city, in every law and restrictions London places on its population, the speaker can sense. Here, the poet says all the sadness belongs to whole population, not only one or two person. People's feelings of being oppressed by city life, everybody getting sad or getting tired by living in this city life. The speaker hears a cry of young chimney sweeps whose misery brings shame on the church authorities. The chimney sweepers who are there, the small growing children, their cries makes very sad or brings shame on the church authority. They are also indirectly responsible for this cry. Thinking of unfortunate British soldiers dying in vain, the speaker imagines their blood running down the walls of the palace. Palace people are very calm and composed. They are living very rich life, but the walls of the palace is filled with the blood of the soldiers. Here poet feel very pity towards those sacrificers. Most of all, the speaker hears the midnight cries of young prostitutes. Prostitutes are exploited by the people. The cry made speaker think over those who swears and curse at their situation. Those young prostitutes used to swear and curse. In turn, this miserable sound brings children misery to their tearful newborn children. Even in such a condition, if they give birth to the newborn babies, they are also continuing same cry without any responsible of parents. The speaker also imagines the sound flogging what the speaker calls the marriage hairs, a imagined vehicle that carries love and death together. Here, in the same city, we can see both even love and death. Themes: the oppression of urban life, especially the sadness, the another face of urban life exposed in this poem. In London, the speaker takes a walk through the titular city and finds very only misery. The dirty and dangerous city is an intense expression of human life, not at its full set, but at its most depraved and imperished. Blake was notably writing at a time when the Industrial Revolution was at full pace, restricting society in a way that he believed made people lose sight of what it means to be human. Blake uses London to urge that this urban environment is inherently oppressive and denies people the freedom to live happy, joyful lives. Here, everybody think people are leading their happy life and or joyfully very pleasure life they are leading. But here it's not. Each and everybody has their own sad feel towards their life. The poem opens with the speaker's expression of walking through the city. Through the speaker's eyes and ears, the readers get a strong sense of dismal lives of the Londoners. The people are marked by weakness and woe. The streets and even the river themes are scattered. That is, their curses have been decided for them. All the depressed people curse to the authorities, those who made such a situation. The speaker also hears pain everywhere. It's in every voice, even that of newborn babies, and it's caused by mind forged manacles. Manacles are a type of physical restraint like handcuffs, but these particular manacles are mind forged. Manacles in the sense somewhat physical pain, but here it's not only physical, it extended to the mind also. That is, they come from throughout the rather than the physical world. That root cause of the London misery, it seems, is the way that humanity thinks about itself, the way that society has been conceived and developed. The speaker suggests that society could be joyful, free, and full of love, but that people's fear, greed, and thirst for power have made the urban environment unbearably oppressive. Here, speaker wanted to see the love, freedom, and joyful nature in the society rather than the fear or depressed. Though the poem doesn't delve too deeply into the way it thinks, society should be, it's very clear about the strong links between misery and its urban setting. At the time of Blake's writing, London was one of the busiest, most developed urban environments in the world. The poem urges that this way of life, with its focus on economic activity and individualism, is fundamentally flawed. What is the use of such economic development or such various progress, rapid progress in the society? No use at all. Nobody gets real joy or love or connection towards the God. What is the use of such situation? To emphasize the point that the city environment itself oppressive, its inhabitants, the speaker gestures towards some of the desperate measures people take in order to survive. The chimney sweepers, who are only children, put their health at great risk to earn a living. Both the soldiers and the harlots, female prostitutes, in different ways, must sell their bodies in order to survive. In other words, everyone is trapped by their situation, forced to exchange the only things they have, their bodies, in order to paradoxically keep those bodies alive. To keep their body alive, they have to sell their body, they have to sell their mind, they have to sell their whole life like chimney sweepers. What's more, the poem offers no real hope that society may find a way to cast off its mind forged manacles. Nor that the poem emphasizes the next generation in closing on the youthful harlots and the newborn infants. This image turns what should be joyous celebration of new life into an intimation into poverty, pain and initiation into poverty, pain and hopelessness. It implies the cyclical nature of London's poverty and suggests people don't have the freedom to escape their urban woes. Here it is like a cyclical moment. Nobody can't change such situation. The poor people, the orphan people, they have to struggle in this pain. The rich and authorities, the aristocrat people, the big people, the rich or the status one people, they enjoy their life by giving torture to the depressed one. The poem then views modern city life as hopelessly oppressive. With the Industrial Revolution at full pace, London was undergoing significant and speedy changes. The poem argues these changes aren't for the better, and it criticism of London may be just as relevant of today's cities. Not only London city those time it was busiest and famous, but nowadays each and every city suffers in the same strugglings. The corruption. Next theme of the poem is the corruption of childhood. London also touches on an important theme throughout the Blake's work, one that is especially prominent in his Songs of Innocence and Experience. Blake written mainly two works, Songs of Innocence and Songs of Experience. Both work included the main theme, the corruption of childhood. Childhood was damaged by somewhat big authorities. Blake believed that people are born with everything they need for a joyful loving, and but that the adult world corrupts this innocent state. In this poem, the speaker describes how children are essentially crushed by the adult world, thus building a vivid argument supporting Blake's broader belief. The Speaker of London presents urban children as being in distress from the moment they are born. For example, line 15 describes newborn babies are blasted by the curse of their impoverished prostitute mothers. The prostitute mother gives birth to the babies, those who cry a lot, and they blasted with the poverty, with helplessness. With this image, the speaker gestured towards an ongoing cycle of misery. Miserable mothers lead to miserable children, who may themselves create more miserable children later on. That is integral to the urban environment. This is only, poet said, cyclical moment. Similarly, in line 6, infants are characterized as consistently crying, and these cries are specifically related to the fear they feel. It is as though they can sense the misery around them before they have been developed their ability to meaningfully pursue and make sense of the world. What is the world? When they come to know, really they lost their life, future, health, everything. Perhaps the most poignant reference to childhood corruption is in line 9 when the speaker discusses the chimney sweepers. Chimney sweeping was a brutal but very common profession in London in Blake's day, and it was work that children were frequently sold to, forced into, like the prostitutes and the soldiers mentioned elsewhere in the poem. The impoverished children of London are forced to exchange their one possession, their bodies, for money, food, and for lodging. In other words, they give up their childhood when they should be playing and learning about the world in order to merely survive. And doing so, of course, actually diminishes their chances of survival because chimney sweeping places them in toxic and physically dangerous environment. It is too dangerous. There is one more poem related to William Blake, Chimney Sweepers in the name. It is very heart-touching poem. One already I uploaded the poem, the summary of that poem. If you are able or if you are free, please go through that same poem also. Through the images of childhood suffering that the speaker observes and recreates for readers, Blake seems to suggest that the oppression of children is one of the worst examples of how the mind forged manacles of urban life and industrialization corrupt society, especially industrialization and church missionaries and the mindset of the people. All three responsible for these strugglings, especially chimney sweepers and prostitute and the life of soldiers, very costly one, very precious one, but they sacrifice their life for the industrialization or the powerful nature of the society. If you like this summary, let me know in the comment box. Also, like the video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.